Welcome back, everyone. Today, we're going to be starting off with SCP-115 Miniature Dump Truck, then SCP-116 the Brittle Boy, and finally SCP-117 Complete Multitool. Now, without further ado, let us begin. Item number: SCP-115 Object Class Safe. Special Containment Procedures. SCP-115-1 is to be stored in the Secure Vehicle Storage Facility in Site.
Data redacted.
Where access is restricted unless accompanied by Level 3 personnel or higher. SCP-115-2 is currently kept in a secure drawer of Dr.
Data redacted.
desk. SCP-115 is not to be used without the Doctor's explicit approval. Any site staff using SCP-115-2 must return it in a timely manner or face punitive measurements. No other special containment procedures are required. Description: SCP-115-1 is a toy dump truck with no identifying markers or labels to identify its original manufacturer. However, unlike regular toy dump trucks, SCP-115-1 weighs as much as the actual vehicle it represents, roughly 90 tons. It is currently unknown how the vehicle weighs this much, as analysis of SCP-115-1's composition reveals that it is made of the same commercial plastic commonly found in similar cheap-quality toys. SCP-115-1 is also capable of motorized movement and can function exactly like a normal dump truck, excepting the fact that it is several magnitudes smaller. It is controlled by SCP-115-2, which resembles a heavily modified RC car controller. SCP-115-2 can control SCP-115-1's movements despite the fact that SCP-115-1 lacks any kind of radio receiver or mechanical parts. SCP-115-2 does not work with any other radio-controlled device, but otherwise functions exactly like a mundane radio controller, even requiring batteries to function properly. Testing has shown that in addition to its abnormal weight, SCP-115-1 also has a similar carrying capacity as its larger counterparts, being able to carry or tow roughly 120 tons of cargo. In addition, SCP-115-1 also apparently needs diesel fuel to run properly. There is a small port on its left side that allows refueling, though it stores and consumes as much fuel as a regular dump truck. How it consumes the diesel fuel as well as where it is stored are issues currently under study. SCP-115-1 was originally found in a construction site in an unspecified location, where workers attempted to move it but found the task impossible due to the fact that SCP-115-1 weighs 90 tons. They were forced to use a heavy machinery to finally move SCP-115-1 off the construction site into a nearby town, where it became a local curiosity. 2 agents discovered SCP-115-1 and found SCP-115-2 at the same construction site. Class A amnestics were distributed among the townspeople in order to cover up SCP-115-1's existence. To anybody using SCP-115-1 for testing, I would like to remind you about Newton's laws. Driving SCP-115-1 recklessly at high speed is inviting disaster, and we've already had to deal with several destroyed walls and equipment due to improper handling. Dr.
Data redacted.
End of SCP. Item number: SCP-116, Object Class Euclid. Special Containment Procedures. SCP-116 is kept in a 16 by 16 meter cell constructed of Kevlar with 1 meter porous rubber padding on all surfaces. No personnel are to enter cell without proper briefing and threat reduction measures. See Appendix 3. Cell is to be monitored at all times by 6 agents, 4 stationed at corner points of cell, and 2 stationed with SCP-116. No pointed objects or intrusive testing equipment of any kind are to be placed in the possession of the agents within the cell. Outside monitoring is achieved using VBS-05 class concealed button cameras stationed at high corners in the cell. Outside monitoring is to be carried out by a further 2 agents. If suspicious activity begins, initialize Achilles Procedure Delta. All monitoring agents, internal or external, are to undergo bi-monthly IQ tests as well as standard weekly psychiatric analysis. Significant drops in the IQ of agents, greater than 5 points, are to be regarded as prolonged exposure and to be treated as outlined in the standard quarantine instructions. Description: SCP-116 has the outward appearance of a Caucasian male of around 9 years of age. Skin is cauterized and scarred over 98% of body, limbs, and head. SCP-116's bone structure is drastically different from standard Homo sapiens bone layout, and all bones are dangerously brittle. The most distinguishing difference between the human body and that of SCP-116 is the non-existence of joints in the latter. SCP-116 is entirely capable of independent movement, but to do so would cause multiple shattering breaks to all bones affected by said movement. To combat this, SCP-116 has shown remarkable self-healing and over a period of minutes can completely regenerate its rigid bone placement. SCP-116 has shown some language skills since acquisition, however. The only language it speaks is a disrupted and broken version of English in which every word has been replaced with an almost entirely unconnected one. Prolonged attempts to make sense of SCP-116's speech have resulted in some long-term mental degradation in researchers. There seems to be no pattern to the word replacement, and attempts continue to translate it. Research suggests that SCP-116 may be capable of low-level telepathy, which deteriorates the victim's brain functions over a long period of time. Appendix 1. Sergeant
Data redacted.
19-0529. Memorandum, May 29th, unspecified year. Subject: Development of suicidal tendencies by SCP-116. NB: SCP-116 has begun to show extreme suicidal tendencies. Request modification of monitoring and containment protocols to avoid undue damage to subject. Appendix 2. Dr.
Data redacted.
19-1429. SCP-116 Language Notes, June 19th, year unspecified. 116's unique linguistic setup is one of increasing interest to me, considering research by my team and me has yielded these somewhat basic results. See attached file. No clear reasoning has been found as to why 116 communicates in this way. Although the words spoken by it are English, the parameters under which they operate are drastically different. No attempt has been made to produce written language from SCP-116 due to bone structure anomalies. Even speaking can be an extreme challenge for 116, despite its experienced delta pain receptors. I have taken a special interest in this subject, as the way in which it reacts to normal English is remarkable. It is obvious that what we say to it sounds just as garbled to it as what it says back to us, if that makes any sense at all. In all my years at Site-19, I have never seen anything quite like it linguistically. I will continue to study and record what I find. Appendix 3. Lieutenant
Data redacted.
19-0349. Memorandum, June 30th, year unspecified. Subject: Procedure of and relating to worrying new suicidal tendencies shown by SCP-116. No solid equipment weighing more than 8 pounds may be taken into the cell. All interior guards are to have canine teeth filed until blunt completely. Security level is to be raised to RT5. Full body cavity search and X-ray before entrance to cell is granted. If any asphyxiation or hypoxia appears to be affecting SCP-116, emergency CPR is to be administered by internal guards. Suggestion noted that SCP-116 should be connected to a life support machine, even when not in danger of death, to prevent unintentional termination. Appendix 4. Sergeant
Data redacted.
19-0529. Memorandum, July 11th, year unspecified. Subject: Cessation of research, re SCP-116. Any and all research regarding SCP-116 is to be immediately halted until further notice. Dr.
Data redacted.
The primary researcher into SCP-116's language and delayed telepathy is to be removed from this site and kept in solitary confinement until all symptoms of his dementia and schizophrenia have dissipated. All personnel involved in SCP-116 are to be quarantined until further notice. Full bone marrow transplants are to be performed on all agents who have been in tactile contact with SCP-116. Suggested termination of interior guard protocol noted. Appendix 5. Colonel
Data redacted.
20-0212. Subject: Cessation of SCP-116 Project. Memorandum, March 20th. Year unspecified. Given the suicidal tendencies of SCP-116, its deleterious effects on involved personnel, and lack of significant useful progress in research, I propose we allow SCP-116 to self-terminate in a controlled environment. This thing has so far proven to be a fruitless waste of resources. Perhaps post-mortem examination will provide us with answers we haven't been able to obtain so far. End of SCP. Item number: SCP-117 Object Class Safe. Special Containment Procedures. SCP-117 is to be kept in the small leather pouch it was found in unless it is in use or in current study. Any personnel deemed mentally fit may enter the containment cell of the SCP, though if they are suspected to be trying to remove the SCP without permission, they are to be searched, and, if that is the case, they are to be reprimanded. The door to the containment cell should be locked and a guard posted only when the object is in use. Description: the item appears to be a regular multi-tool of unknown make and brand, found in an undisclosed location in Florida. At first glance, only the normal tools were found: screwdriver, knife, can opener, etc. But if the user is faced with a task regardless of what tool the subject intends to pull out and use, a tool perfectly fitted for the job will take its place, regardless of spatial quantities that are being broken by the tool. All other tools always seem to be present, though, after the task is completed and the tool is closed. Unless faced with a task requiring that tool again, the tool cannot be found on the tool again. Addendum: those with Level 2 security clearance should see document number 117-D. Document 117-A, Effects of Usage. After countless uses and tests with the SCP, it has been discovered to cause harm and possibly death to the user by means of absorbing copper, iron, calcium, and zinc from the user's body as long as the user is touching the device. Gloves seem to have no curbing effect on this, and the rate of absorption seems to depend on the tools used or created by SCP-117. It is advised that only Class D personnel are used in conjunction with this SCP to prevent injury or death of researchers. Document 117-B, Usage Log of SCP-117. Redundant entries not entered unless they exhibit different results. The format is situation-tool produced by SCP. A loose screw on a metal plate. Tool. Screwdriver, though not the standard screwdriver. Situation: a nail barely in piece of timber. Tool: standard hammer. Situation: a piece of timber with proposed cut lines drawn. Tool: an electric saw which needed no outside power source. Situation: a piece of bulletproof glass. An unknown laser cutting tool was produced which needed no outside power source. A redacted SCP. The tool produced was a bloodied combat knife. An agent with a broken bone. The tool produced was a small item with a trigger that, when pulled, emitted an odd radiation, instantly healing the injury. Class D personnel fitted for execution. The tool is expunged. Communication needed with SCP-363. The tool is expunged. See Incident Report number 117-3F. 05-X clearance required. A non-shuffled deck of playing cards. The tool produced was a mid-sized mechanical shuffler. Class D personnel with terminal cancer. The item issued was similar to the 6th test. A perfectly healthy Caucasian male, no criminal record. The tool issued was expunged. A perfectly healthy Hispanic male with no criminal record. The tool used was expunged. SCP-138 produced a metal plate with the phrase "That's rough, buddy" carved into it. A silver dining fork in perfect condition produced. No tools could be found on the SCP. A situation whose data is being expunged produced a screwdriver. A dirty window produced a nozzle that sprayed a mixture of soap and water that completely cleaned the window. An uncharged iPod produced the iPod end of the charging cord, which needed no outside power source. A blank sheet of standard computer paper produced a pen filled with seemingly infinite supply of black ink. A Samsung cellular phone produced a small device that, when attached to the phone, increased signal strength by approximately 250%. A paperback copy of How to Survive When Reality Doesn't produced a functioning lighter. A hard copy of A Chronicle of the Devas, non-anomalous, produced a functioning lighter. A hard copy of A Chronicle of the Devas, anomalous, produced a functioning flamethrower, item burned with no complications. A hard copy cover of Chronicle of the Devas, non-anomalous but recovered from the Wanderer's library, produced an anti-book lice spray. Document 117-G, developments concerning SCP-117. After exposing the SCP to an array of different items and people, it appears that the object may very well be sentient to some degree. Because of this, we must consider the fact that the SCP is susceptible to telepathy and must not come into contact with any SCPs with known telepathic powers. Dr. Clemmen. The above was a transcript of the personal notes of Dr. Clemmen, who seems to have taken a harmless interest in the object. Testing with other SCPs is suspended as of 9/16, year unspecified. Note: 117-1, date 5/4, year unspecified. Testing is suggested for SCP-882 and is under consideration by Dr. Kleeman. Note: 117-2, 6/19/20, unspecified last digits. Further biological testing is halted by Dr. Clemmen after incident number 117-4A. The SCP is still fit to be used for any repairs around the facilities as long as the SCP is followed by one or more armed guards briefed on proper use of the SCP. Note: 117-4, 6/21, year unspecified. After much consideration, I must deny testing of SCP-117 with SCP-882. The risk of damaging SCP-882 is simply too great to overlook. Dr. Clemmen. Note: 117-26. Date: 9/16, year unspecified. After Incident 117-3F, I am forced to put a stop to all testing of SCP-117 in conjunction with other SCPs. The risk of a total loss of containment is far too great. All biological testing is to be halted until a later date, as the results so far have proven varying, and there is a limit of Class D staff available for my research. Dr. Clemmen. Note: 117-27. Date: 7/20, year unknown. Biological testing resumed by Dr. Clemmen, with mixed results. Testing of SCP-117 with other SCPs under reconsideration by 05-.
Data redacted.
Though it seems unlikely further testing will occur. Note: 117-28. Date: 3/20, year unspecified. Testing is suggested for SCP-682. And that's going to be the end of our reading today, everyone. Thank you very much for coming. Of note, SCP-118 had 2 stories attached. Excerpts from How to Survive When Reality Doesn't by Alto Clef and A Visitation. I chose not to read those because they weren't exactly related to the SCP itself, just stories that were referenced. So, if you want me to read them, feel free to give me a heads up in the comments or wherever else, but this is going to be where we ended today. Thank you very much for coming, everyone. It's been an absolute joy reading for you, and good luck out there.